Well, I figured I'd better come down here and make a video on the old 4010 because any day now it's liable to disappear. We picked that tractor up about 10 or 11 years ago. We were riding around the countryside and rode by a shed and happened to look under the shed, and the old 4010 was sitting there kind of by itself. So after some inquiries, we found out that the fellow that owned it, his son wanted to sell it because he'd passed away some number of years before, and the tractor had been sitting under the shed probably for about 10 or 15 years. So my son went over there and talked to the fella, and he said he wanted to sell it. So upon looking at it, we seen water was leaking down the back of the head. So my son told him that if it would turn over, he would give him what he was asking for it, which was very cheap. But if it didn't turn over, he didn't want it. So they got another tractor and pulled it out from under the shed and tried to pull it, and it drug the back tires. So that was an indication that the engine was locked up. So my son said he didn't want it, but the young man had a problem, and he begged him to take it and shot him an even lower price, and it was almost like pennies on the dollar. So my son finally said, yeah, okay, load it up. So they put it on the trailer, they brought it home. We set it out there in the yard and pulled the hood off of it, and pulled the head off of it, and number 6 cylinder was, it was full of water, been full of water for years. So my son got the numbers off the block and said, we'll buy an engine kit to go in it. So we bought the engine kit and managed to get the sleeves and the pistons out. Then we got the connecting rods off the old pistons, and the kit came in, and we started rebuilding it. And when we got down to the crankshaft, we come to find out that we couldn't get the oil clearance in the spec we wanted. So my son worked an old trick that he learned from a race car engine builder, and we got it back into factory spec on the oil, on the rod journals. And we sent the head to our race car shop, and they went through the head and sent it back. We bolted it together and cranked it up, and the old rascal's been running here ever since. We've had to put a radiator in it. It's got a poly fuel tank in it. The front vibration dampener we replaced, and the pump drive, all that's been replaced. It didn't have any brakes on the right wheel. Come to find out when we pulled it off that there was a mangled mess in there. So we bought the parts to go in there and rebuilt the power takeoff, because it's got the old bolt-on style PTO shaft. And if you let the bolts get loose in the back, it'll mess up the pin, and that it shifts it from 540 to 1000. So it had the old style 612 volt John Deere electrical system on it. So we pulled that off and converted it to 12 volts, and I made the battery boxes for it so that I could put Group 31 batteries on it. And I figured I better come down here and make a video on it, because what in the world is the matter with you, girl? Shut up that screaming. Anyway, it's been sold since we rebuilt it, and we've acquired a bunch of newer model tractors. We don't have any use for it, so most of its time is spent sitting up under the shed. And we just decided that with mixed feelings, we're gonna let it go. So it's liable to disappear any day now. So I figured I better come down here and make one last video on it so that we could have it to memory. So I'm gonna walk over here and and let you listen to it one last time. It's a synchro range. Let's see if she'll fire off. I ain't getting no contact through my buttons around there. Let me walk around to the other side and see what the trouble is, because it usually cranks right up. There she goes. Well, that's one last running. Sorry about all the other views that weren't of the tractor, because I have a problem with my left leg. I can't walk real good, so don't hate to see the old tractor go. But everybody take care. Have a nice day. Lord bless and keep you. And look for me when you see me.